to this week's episode of Plants with Patrick. My last houseplant propagation video went really well, so I figured I'd do another one. Today we're going to learn how to propagate snake plant, or Sansevieria, a begonia, and a Chinese money plant, or Pilea. Each of these are very easy to propagate, just like the pothos that we did last time. And there's a few different methods that we're going to learn today. But to start, you're going to need some good quality potting soil with some perlite or coconut coir or something that will help it drain. You'll need a vessel of some sort, a pot with a drainage hole. And you'll need, depending on what plant you're doing, you might need a couple of extra materials. I recommend having a spray bottle full of water to water your plants. If you don't have a spray bottle, you can make it work, but you just need to be really gentle with these small cuttings. Okay, and then you might need rooting hormone, like you've seen in our other video. And you might need a specialized soil mix, depending on what you're doing. So, another good thing is you'll need a blade, maybe some paper towels. I've already sterilized this blade with alcohol, but rubbing alcohol for sterilizing your blade would be a good thing. And maybe a cutting board. Okay, so I think that's everything. Those are all the things that you'll need. So, we'll start by doing the money plant. So this is a beautiful little plant. It gets about this big. It doesn't grow any bigger than this, but it has these nice circular leaves where the petioles, which are these little stems, they're the stems that attach the leaf to the base of the plant. The petioles go all the way up and make these kind of nice white circles in the leaf. So to propagate a money plant, you'll need one that has a little baby money plant next to it. So this method of propagation is called side shoot cutting. So as you'll see, this plant has a little baby plant next to it that comes off of a little side shoot, hence the name. So, to propagate this little baby money plant and make it into a big one, you'll just come in here and you'll move the soil or moss or whatever it was planted in out of the way, and you will go just below. See how all the stems come out of that, all the little petioles come out of that central stem right there? You'll want to leave all the petioles untouched, and you'll want to come down below that central stem and give it like a 1/4 of an inch or as much as you can. And you'll come down, you'll do a nice clean cut. And then you have this baby money plant. And you can take this baby and put it in some potting soil, and you just gently put it in the potting soil and spray it with water. And for the first little while, you want to keep the potting soil relatively moist. You do not want to flood the soil. You just want to keep it moist. Maybe water it a couple times a week. And eventually that little baby money plant will sprout its own roots. And then you'll have 2 money plants, and then you'll be rich. And so that is how you would do what is called a side shoot cutting on your money plant. Okay, so that's one way of doing things. And we're gonna take this, we're gonna reuse this for this video. Don't worry, I'll put that money plant in a special place afterwards. So the next propagation method that we're going to use is called a leaf blade cutting. In this one, we're going to use the snake plant. And you'll want a snake plant, you can really use any of the leaves on this size snake plant because they're all good size. I might take this one right here. And so again, I'll use my sterilized blade and I'll come down to the base of the plant, the base of the leaf, right above the soil, and I'll just do a clean, simple cut. Okay. Oh, that was a good one. Okay, so you'll see the snake plant, I hope you can see, the snake plant is very succulent when you cut into it. It's very thick and juicy. And you'll want to, you'll have this blade here, and you'll want to make sure that you make a little marking on the upper right-hand corner of each little leaf cutting, each little cutting that you take. So from this large leaf, you'll make cuttings that are, you'll cut it into 3 to 4 inch sections. So I might do one right here. And then I'm going to mark the upper right-hand corner, just so that I know. And I'm going to do one maybe right here. And I'm going to mark the upper right-hand corner, just so I know. And then I'm going to split this one into 2. And I'm going to mark the upper right-hand corner of both. So then we'll put our snake plant leaf cuttings into a soil mix. You can use any well-drained soil mix, like the one I have here, which has a bunch of perlite in it. It's also possible with this plant to use, you can see this one is planted in what are called orchid chips. So you can use bigger chips, and you can also do it in succulent potting soil mixes. So it does really well when it has a lot of air coming to the base. So, and it doesn't need a lot of water. Like this plant, once it gets established, you probably only need to water it once a month. So, but for right now, I'm just going to put them in this potting soil mix. It's rich and well drained and should do the trick. And so I'm going to make sure that it's a little bit moist. And then I'm going to make sure those dots that I put in the upper right-hand corner are the top of the leaf. I'm going to stick it in about 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. And make sure my dot is in the upper right-hand corner, 1/2 inch down. And dot upper right-hand corner, 1/2 inch down. So these little babies will sprout roots. I'm not exactly sure how long it will take, but they'll sprout roots and then you'll see your snake plant start to grow. So that's this one. I would say in the beginning, make sure to keep the soil kind of moist, but you don't need to overwater this one even while it's getting established. A thing that you could use with your snake plant to help it grow roots faster is a little bit of rooting hormone. You would pour some of this out and you would just dip that bottom edge into the rooting hormone and then you'd put it into your soil. It's not necessary, but it does help. Okay, so that's our second kind of propagation, and it is called a leaf blade cutting. So here's our leaf blade cuttings. Okay, so then our last kind of plant propagation is a little bit trickier, and it involves begonias. So I'm going to reuse this same pot again. And okay, so with a begonia, you can actually propagate the plant from the leaves. So I'm going to pick a nice healthy leaf, like this one, and I'm going to use my sterilized blade to cut it right at the base of the leaf. If you can't see what I'm doing, I'll show you in just a second. So there's our leaf, and you can see I cut it very close to the stem, very close to the leaf. So, hopefully you can see that. I think that's probably better. Okay, so, see how the leaf has one really strong central vein? That's where the roots are going to come out. I know, it sounds totally nuts, but it's true. So you're going to want to do little cuttings of the leaf that include that central vein. So I might do one like this, and one like this, and maybe another one like this. Okay, so for that leaf I got 3 cuttings, and this, just so that you know what this kind of propagation is called, if you ever want to look it up on YouTube or something like that, this is called a leaf vein cutting. And with this one, you'll have your potting mix. Any well-drained potting mix will do. And you'll want to make sure that that vein, that central vein that you included in all of your little cuttings, is in full contact with your moist soil. This one you can use a little more water than the other two. You can really keep that soil pretty moist. So you will want to, what's the next step? Oh, so with this one of the things that I recommend is having like a piece of wire or a hair clip or a pipe cleaner in my case, and you're going to use that to make like little staples that hold down your leaves to the soil. So, leaf vein, you can see it. We put it flush on the soil, and then we staple it down with our pipe cleaner. Ooh, it looks so cute! Okay. This is great. Alright, so I'm making sure that the veins are flush with the soil. I'm pinching them down with a little bit of beautiful golden wire to ensure success. And I'm gonna mist it. And there you have it. So this should be the beginnings of a new begonia plant. And I would say you can make sure the soil stays pretty moist with this one. And then once the plant has established itself, you can probably get away with watering it maybe like 1 to 2 times a week. Okay, so all of these plants do well in a variety of lighting conditions, just like the pothos. So you don't want any of them to have direct sunlight on them for a very long time. But it's okay if it gets a little bit of morning sun, or even if the plant doesn't get very much direct sun at all. That's great. And if it's in the shade, or like in a darker corner of your apartment, these 3 plants should do pretty well. But I would try to get them a little bit of sunlight and try to make sure that it's kind of filtered. So today we've covered side shoot cutting with our little money plant. We've covered leaf blade cuttings with our snake plant. Remember, the bottom side goes in the soil and the top side stays up. And we've covered leaf vein cuttings with our begonia.